Hello everyone, you're welcome. So in this video I'm going to create a very beautiful flyer and without wasting any time at all, let's get started. So tap on new. As usual, if you are starting a project in Photoshop, if this is your first tutorial you're watching here for Photoshop, this is how you get started. Just tap on the new file and give it a name. I'm gonna call this Gochi, right? And the size you're gonna use, this is the most recent size I used, and not for a design. I think the size I recommended earlier for flyer design is either 4,000 by 5,000 or 2,000 by 2,500. So I'm just gonna use this. All right, make sure your resolution is either 150. I love to use 300. So 150 is very cool too. And it should always be in pixels most times if you understand what you're doing. Then enable the artboard. And I told you the reason why I normally enable the artboard is to have another artboard to bring in my resources, especially when we're having tutorial like this, so you can everything will be in handy. That's just it. All right. And the color, I'm gonna make it black this time around. Black, the default color. You can always change it though after you start your project, so just tap on create. And if you're joining us for the first time, this is the voice of Samuel Precious. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and tap on the notification bell. And if there's anything you need, maybe resources, you want to join our community or anything at all, just check the description of the video. You'll see everything you need there. So this is the hardboard. All right, the hardboard, you can rename it. I don't normally do this, but you can just write main design. All right, so it's a best practice, actually, especially if you are creating lots of designs, to understand what you're doing. So this is the background. I'm just going to select this artboard and tap on this plus here so that we have two artboards. So we have two hardboards now, and I think I would make this one white so I can just create a rectangle thing. On the previous videos, this wasn't how I did it, but let's use this method again. All right, just give the rectangle white background. I think this is very common for pixellab users, so you can lock it. All right, that's it. So because I want our text to be here, so tap on T. I have my text in my clipboard already. All right, let me decrease the size. I think this looks a little bit too big, so just make it around 16. All right, so I'm just gonna paste my text here. All right, let me make it left aligned. I think we are good. So there is the text. All right. So let me see if there is something else again. Mind you, this is from our design challenge going on. If you want to join the next batch, check the description of this video as well. All right, you can join us. It's a 20 days design challenge. All right, more details in the description of the video. All right, so what else? I'm going to bring in the design. We are to model this design, meaning that we are to use the exact details on this design to create another version of it. Simple as that, meaning that we are not copying the old style, but we are trying to create a related concept using our own styles and preferences and all of that. All right, so I want this design to be purple. All right, I think I just feel like using purple for this design this time around. Okay, so what you do first is your background. Come to your background. Normally I love to leave it like black like this, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm not going to dwell too much on my personal style, but I'm gonna go something really close. Right, so just come to your this adjustment and select. You can import, you can create a shape to like the way I did for this artboard. Just come to solid color and create a solid color. So the color is going to be purple, so let's come over here. Okay, I think we can work with this. So bring it down till it's very dark, the darkest purple possible. All right, so we want to just leave it here. You can lock, just this is selected, you can lock all the layers. I don't want anything selected or moving around here. All right, and what else do we have to do? We have to create our background. There are many ways to create your background. Most times you may need to leave it plain like this and bring in all your texts. All right, but in most situations I love to make it glow already because I love it when it's looking good. All right, so we are going to make it glow now, and we are still going to make it glow at the end of it because I love to add glows as my finishing touch. All right, so how do you create a glow? We are dealing with this canvas or this artboard. select what's it called again, the brush tool. But before that, tap on this plus here to create an empty layer up here. All right, you can select this one, the last one, the topmost item here. Select, just tap on this, tap on plus. So you see there is an empty layer 2 here. This is an empty layer 1. This is an empty layer 2. You can even delete this because this is already covering it, but that's not even our business. All right, so the foreground color here is the color that would work for the brush by default. So select it, and you can select this. So just shift it up, then look at it. It's not light enough. I think this is cool. All right, so okay, then select your brush to make sure your caps is disabled so that you can see. Then use your right square bracket or right curly bracket. Just try any of them. I think this is big enough. All right, so just stay around this place. But before that, make sure this thing is on screen. All right, though you may still use it like that, but the color will be lighter than this. All right, so screen gives us a very lighter version of an existing color. Can you see the glow? This is one of the simplest way to create background. I'm just gonna have the glow somewhere here. Let me increase this thing. I want the glow to just come around here, and good. So I'm gonna leave it like this. We may still need to add some other glows after we are done, but this is already giving us the vibe that we want. All right, so what are we doing? The name of the brand is Gucci. All right, Gucci. Then we have Creative Craft. I've copied both of them into my clipboard. So I'm just going to, let me just duplicate this by holding my alt and dragging it. All right, you can see that. So I'm going to change the color to white. Okay, so your control and enter to select everything, or you double tap in the text area. All right, so I'm just going to Windows V my Gucci. All right, so we are not, this is Montserrat. Okay, we're not going to use Montserrat, but I think the font I used there was AVG, right? And I think I'm going to use it again. So I really love that font. It's a very cool sans serif font, and it's always thick. I love the thickness. All right, so you increase the size just like this. All right, so this is going to be bigger than the original one. Okay, so we have Gucci. All right, so I love to always style my text, to make them look somehow, less boring. So, but before that, let me see. I think the letter spacing here is too much. Let's make it 25. All right, this is cool. It's I love it like this. Then let's give it a color here. This is going to be, also we are going to just pick random colors from here. Just pick random colors from here. Then play around with it from this place. All right, can you see that? Just play around it from this place, and I think we are good. We are good. So let's try and see if we can add. Let's add you come to this place where you select the text. Select, I don't know what to add. Let's use inner glow or inner shadow. All right, so we are going to make it white. Good. So does this really look good? Let's increase the size and see. All right, I believe we should increase it the more. All right, you can see what's coming out. Right, you can see that. So I think let's give it some choke. All right, so just copy the settings. All right, see your choke is 11, size is 40, opacity is 100%, and all right, let me adjust the range and see if it's needed. All right, 42 is not bad, but it's just not bad. So I think that was the same pattern I used here, but for a different color. So we have Creative Craft. So there's something called font pairing. Okay, so when you have this kind of font for your header, you can have sans serif font for your subheader, right? So just drag this. I don't want us to use, or should we use that same Montserrat? Let's just use it. So Windows V to open my clipboard and Creative Craft. All right. So select all and give it white. This is gonna be pure white, basically. So I don't know if we have to create shape under it. Let's see how cool it's gonna look. All right. So I think this is not looking the best. It's not looking the best, right? But what can we do? what can we do? Let's create a shape. All right, so create a shape like this, create a shape like this, and just zoom it, hold your alt and scroll your mouse upwards. So let's give it some this. Thinking of all right, I'm trying to see the best colors we can use. Maybe white. Let's try to use white and see. I believe this is better. So let's play with the color and see. Let's play with the color. So drag this down. Oh my god. Drag this down. Let's see. Alright, I believe this looks good. So you can see by default I have a stroke here, I have a stroke color here. So the stroke is 1.5 pixels and the color is white. So what I can do now, I don't like my strokes being too sharp. So come to your opacity and reduce the opacity. So both the stroke and the shape would be reduced, but for fields, only the color inside that will be reduced. So just reduce opacity and let's reduce it more, something around 60 or 50. All right, 61 is cool. All right, so this is exactly what we are talking about. So bring this to the front, and the shortcut for bringing it to the front is Control Shift and your right square bracket. All right, so reduce the size of this, and so this is cool. So select everything. Before that, let me make this. I think I love this kind of shape. Yeah, this looks good. So select everything and reduce the size. All right. All right. So I believe this is cool. Okay. So there is another style I love to use. So bring this to the top. All right. Then give it a shadow. Drop shadow rather, not inner shadow. Okay. So just select on this place and drag it down. Okay. You see now just to control, but I love to control from here. So to know if you are right, reset everything to default. Make sure this is not red. Make sure this is the lowest. All right, then let's start with the distance. All right, you can see the effect. Now this is how to master shadow. Reset and try and see the effect all of these things is having. All right, all of these things are having on it. So let's just scatter it from here. All right, then for the distance. Let me play with the spread a little bit. I think I love the spread, but we have to change the color from black. This is too, this is too black and revealing. So let me select a color that is almost the same color as the background. Then reduce the opacity. So check all the settings, all right, and duplicate it. Replicate it from your own end. All right. So this is Gucci Creative Craft, and what is the next thing? What are the next things? This design is a very simple one. What are the next things we have to do? We have to change the color first, and so that we can see what else we have to do. All right, Gucci Creative Craft, all kinds of resin crafts. Okay. So let me copy it. Let me just cut. All right, let me just cut. I think I need to delete this. Then let this come here, duplicate it, and bring this here. So I believe maybe both of them should be together. I'm just trying to think about it. So let's see. All right, I think we can do that. So just drag this down a little bit. Okay, so this creative craft, let's make this. Okay, I think minus 50 is not bad. I'm trying to explore a minus 75. I love it when my text are choked together. It gives some kind of premium feel. So I want this to be lighter, so let's make it regular. All right, so we are getting there. So select the both of them by holding your shift and tapping on. Then make sure they are aligned, properly aligned. All right, so I believe they are both aligned now. So this one we can make it wider and make it rounded all through. So I believe this is cool, right? This is cool. Then what's the next thing we have to do? So let's bring this here. Let's just duplicate. All right, X. Good. So just paste it there like that. All right. So you can paste it however you like. You don't have to use my old shortcuts and all of that. Okay. So for these, in situations like this whereby you don't have too many details, and okay, we are going to use pictures, of course, to take it to just occupy the spaces. But leaving your text like this most times would destroy the structure of the design, and you may have too many empty spaces all around. So another way you can avoid this is by using shapes to wrap around your stuff. So Ctrl J to duplicate this, then drag this down. All right, let's take it away from here and let's play around this guy. All right, just drag it. Okay. So this looks good already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the fill. I want to reduce the fill, and let me increase the opacity. I want only the stroke to be seen. I don't know if that's a good thing to do. All right, let's change this to dashed line and see the effect. All right, so I love this. You can change the settings from your properties. Properties may not be here. Look for properties anywhere. You come to Windows and you select the properties. You will see it if it's not checked. So it will be somewhere around this place. In my first video, I spoke about this extensively. So you can change the pixels if you feel like, okay, you need to increase it. You see that? So you can change the pixel. Let me make it 4. Okay. This looks too thick. Let me make it 3. So sometimes you just have to experiment and see what works the best for you. Right, so I think I can still reduce the opacity now, so it doesn't look too heavy. All right, this is perfect. So we can increase the what's it called, the line height. Right, you see that? All right, so this looks good already. So I actually would want to add some arrows here, but I feel I should leave it like that. I will leave it like that. So let me see if we can add some lines. All right, so to add lines to these, we can just come here, right click, and you see, just select the align tool and add a line just like this. So I think this is cool. So what should be the 1 pixel? Just delete the fill. We need only the stroke for lines. All right, so let's see. Is this line not too thick? All right, so I want to make this line less boring. So what I do, let me just first lock this one to avoid distraction. I think I'm going to unlock it later. So select the line and select this your mask, this layer mask. Tap on layer mask, then tap on your brush so that we can brush over it. So reduce the size of your brush, reduce it. Just come to something like this. Just select it like this. Tap it just once. It's cool. If your flow is in 100%, just tap it. All right. I believe this is cool. So this is much more better. All right, much better. It's much better. So what do we do? Where is it? Just select it from here, and I think this one that I locked. Put your control and select the same one as well. So centralize them, absolutely. I think this is cool, right? So select the line. How many lines do we need? We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 5 lines. I want to show you a very cool shortcut. 5 lines. So while this is selected, Ctrl J 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. It's as simple as that. So just select any of them. Any of them that's been selected. All right. Just Ctrl T so that you can easily move it. So you have to zoom. We are moving just one of them. Okay, so you don't have a problem. All right. Okay, so hold your shift, selecting just one of them. So make sure it's at the last possible place you want it to be. All right, so this is how it is, and we are good. We are good. So looking at this now, we want to do something. I think we have a problem. I don't know why this is like this. All right, I don't know why it's like that. It's not supposed to be like that. So let me just quickly delete it. Let me bring it out now and see. All right, bring it here. Okay, I think the problem is that particular one. So just control J to duplicate that one as well. So what do we do now? We have all the lines we need, but we have two of them here, and we have maybe three of them here. So just come to this thing, your layers, and select everything. Select the first one, hold down your shift and select every other one. Then come to this place. This to distribute horizontally. Just tap on it. Everything will be distributed horizontally. Have you seen that? Cool. Very simple. All right. So we can put some heading here. We're just going to duplicate this by holding your Alt and make sure all the opacity and everything is 100, 100, 100, so that we won't see any sort of reflection. I think it's under, so bring it to the top. All right, so reduce the size absolutely, reduce the size absolutely, and so we can put this here at the center. So we can just write something generic here. But let's see if we can make the color this is it lilac? All right, we have it here. All right, so this is good. So we can call this our craft. So let me just duplicate any of this text and write our crafts, all in caps. Our craft. Okay, so the color would be very deep purple. Just pick one from here. All right, good. See, it's lost in the background because that same color. So just bring it to the top and drag it here. So reduce the size. Absolutely reduce the size. And you can make it bolder since it's smaller, right? So that don't be like we are cheating this guy. So check your semi-bold. I think that's good enough. Okay, so you just come here. All right. So don't forget we are using Montserrat. You can use Poppins. I think Poppins is actually my favorite, right? But just as you use this time around. Then what else do we have to do? We have to bring in our model image. Our model image is somewhere around here. Downloads. I think I got it a few. All right. So our model image is this. So it's in outboard one. Just drag it here so that it comes to your main design. I didn't select the outboard we are bringing it in. All right, so this is cool. I'm going to run a little bit of edits on this picture right now. All right, but before that, let me see if I can put some shadow on it so that it will be much more realistic. All right, so but before that, let me reduce the size. Let me increase it. Let me increase it. I may need to reduce the size of. All right, I think this is cool. We need to reduce the size of this Gucci, right? Okay, so I'll bring it down. So this is cool. So let's quickly give this a drop shadow and see if it looks good. All right, it does. You can see the effect here. Let me increase this a little bit. All right, let's take it to 100. Oh, that's way too much. There's a problem around this place though. It's not realistic. All right, so we'll cover that up with a glow later on. And for the picture, select on the picture and maybe we should actually edit it, or we do everything together when we are done with the whole design. All right, let's just do everything together when we're done with the whole design, because I actually plan to teach you how to use the camera raw filter. I created a video on that already for church designs, but for this kind of designs that we want some effect on the image, we can still do better. So I'm going to mask, select my layer mask, and select my brush by tapping B. Just tap B multiple times, most times. It may not respond immediately. Increase the size and just, oh, that's too big. All right, reduce the flow, 50 something. All right, so just erase. All right. Okay, so I think we have even fixed the issue we have here, the space. So this looks good. All we need is the rest in hearts. All right, this thing on our fingers. All right, so we are cool. I'm not going to edit the picture separately. I'm going to do everything together. So make sure you watch to the end. You're going to see how the picture is going to pop up. You can see the effect on this one. You can see the graining style and the way it's sharp. All right, so we'll replicate the same thing here. All right, and then I think we are close to being done. We're close to being done. What else do we have to do? For the sake of consistency, let's make this this dashed line. Let's make it dashed line, and this would be 2, so that will be much visible. All right. Okay, I think this is cool now. And what else do we have to do? I think we have the contact information. Visible text inside simple text images. I extracted this information using AI, so don't mind all this. All right. Let's see. Contact information. Key essence to light and perfumery. I think that's the only thing we need. So I'm just gonna cut it out or duplicate or copy or whatever. So we are done with that. So I'm just gonna delete it. I don't want to see it again. All right. So there's something called footer. These are the principles in creating designs, especially in social media designs and stuff like that. In fact, every design should have a footer most times. All right. So footer contains the this kind of information. So I'm just gonna create a very simple one. I'm just going to select and drag like this. All right, so this is cool. So the footer would have this color. Okay, if you want it to be perfect, drag this here, make sure it's at the exact point. So the fill will be this lilac for consistency's sake. And I don't know if the stroke would work well. Trying to see the effect of the stroke. Wow, it's not even appear as though there's stroke there. Let's make it this dashed line, and let's make this 2. I think that would be more interactive. Actually, that would be more interactive or less boring. I mean, use the word less boring. So this is cool. Just gonna grab the number and just duplicate anything here, bring it to the front, and paste your number. Your number may be black, but I would prefer to stay consistent by picking any of this deep purple. All right, see the consistency now, just one color, everything is just one color. Even this, we got it from this. Okay, I believe there's a problem here. I'm gonna fix that, don't worry. So let's say contact us here. I just want it to be longer. Right, that's where you have to improvise. Contact us here. All right, so I'll just let me tamper with the number. Okay, right. So make this much bigger, or okay, no, just make this much smaller. So select only that one. You don't have to do it separately. Okay, right? You can just come here and say 11. 11 is too small. 12 should be perfect. All right. So then make this bolder. Let's come here and select semi-bold or bold. Let's use bold this time around. All right. So I think sometimes you just have to make it so simple. It's as simple as that. All right. Then just centralize everything. This is perfect and professional. So let's fix the issue we have here by bringing this to the front. It's as simple as that. How do you bring it to the front? I already see that. Control Shift and right square bracket. And I love the way this thing is hidden, right? It's still visible, but that pattern is a very cool pattern. I love it so much, right? So what else are we missing out? All right, I'm not sure I'm missing out anything. So this is the end of the design. So what do? Let's quickly put a generic logo here. Let me just duplicate this, make it small, take away every style in there. Right. So let's write the logo. Okay. I'm gonna make it Montserrat. Sorry, my bad. I mean to use semi-bold. So select your character panel and make this 75 minus 75 rather. So reduce the size. Okay. So I'm just trying to create a very generic logo. Then create a shape around it. All right. I believe this is cool. So tap on the view, cancel it. The stroke is cool. Let me tap on V. V is to return to your move to. I believe this is perfect. So select everything and centralize and everything, and that's all. So try to make it align. Okay, let me just convert to smart object to make it just one. So it will be easier for me to move it all about. Alright, perfect. So we've got a logo there, and that's all. So the next step, alright, I'm showing you my design process. The next step is to add your glows. You can see this one is having a pink vibe. So this one should have your purple vibe, especially this picture. So select the topmost layer here and tap on plus here and tap on B for your brush. You can see this undo the caps. Alright, disable your caps. So increase it to some extent. Then this foreground color, you can make it lighter. Your flow should be 100. Then make your this screen, make it screen. Okay, so see that on the face, that's too much. All right, so you see the outskirt. Let me increase it a little bit. The outskirt, if you make it too heavy, that will be bad. It will not glow. All right, so to make it glow, you have to just take it around the outskirt. All right, so even this one, let me reduce the size so the glow will much here. You see now, but it can't be much on the picture. So you see everything is looking sharp now. It's looking sharp. All right, so I think that's all. So let's see the before and the after. Before, after. You know, it's just see that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is let me just quickly delete this artboard to avoid issues. All right. So it will not delete if any of the elements under it is locked. So it should delete now. Cool. So we are focusing on this guy. All right, you see everything is looking cool right now. So what else we have to do? We have to filter. We have to add some filter. We have to edit this to make it very, very sharp. So tap on Control Shift Alt E. If that's too much, Control Shift Alt E to snap everything. You see everything is now here now. This is like taking a picture of it so that we can edit only this one. All right. So come to your filter, tap on camera raw filter. Just tap on it. And what do? Just come to exposure, make the exposure 0.1. All right, then contrast. You need to increase the contrast. All right, to give it that cool vibe. Increase the contrast. I believe we don't need to edit this heavily. In fact, basically we are editing only this picture because we can't really edit, you know, just shapes and text like that. You know, the effect will not be so much visible. So we are practically editing the colors, the general colors, and the texture of this image. So come to your, we are coming back to this, but first come to your sharpening. Increase the sharpening. The picture is looking too smooth. All right, see now it's looking sharper now. Then increase the radius, obviously. Then come to your details, increase it. This will not always work for all pictures, depending on your condition. So this is before and after. Tap on it before, see after, see the way it's shining. So these are the secrets. So masking is to protect your soft parts of the design so they will not be too sharp. Okay, so noise reduction, we don't want to reduce the noise, we want it to make noise. But we can increase a little bit just to enable the other settings a little bit so that we can add details here. All right, you can add details from here. So I believe there is something I'm missing out, and that's the one of the most important things here: texture. Okay, and clarity. See, texture is the main guy here, and clarity. All right, texture and clarity. All right, so I believe this is cool. So let's quickly do some minor color grading here. So just select. I love to always use just the shadows. There was a time I used everything, but I believe they are not so necessary most times. This shadow covers most of it. So you see, just move it around. I believe we should sit somewhere around here. Drop this thing down, drop it down so you can see see the saturation. So let's make saturation around 39. The luminance, let's reduce the luminance a little bit. Let's reduce the saturation a little bit, 36. So increase the blending and increase the balance, 8330. And let's look at the problem we have. I think these texts are looking haggard, or they are looking jagged, whatever you may want to call it. So let's come to your reduce the sharpening, reduce the details here, and let's see if there will be any difference. Yes, there's a difference. Come to your texture, reduce the texture a little bit. Yeah, I believe that's cool. In fact, you don't need to reduce it. There is a way out. So click on OK. So I'm gonna show you a way out now. You see the edits we made now is affecting this picture properly, and it's affecting this craft. It's not looking smooth again. So just mask it out. Tap on the mask, tap on your B, then reduce it. So whatever edit we do will be erased for this text. You see the text is very smooth now. Alright, so that's another style you can use. You can do the same thing for these. Alright. You can do the same thing for these. So our text will be protected while our image is being edited. So that's a shortcut rather than wasting your time editing the image one after the other, because for you to even get the color grading you have to edit most of them, all of them together most of the time. Alright, so I believe this works now. Okay, you can make this bigger and just just select around here, and that's all. So this is basically reduce this. Alright, okay, so our design is ready and sweet. So if you learned something new, let me know in the comment section. Once again, my name is Samuel Precious, and make sure you subscribe, make sure you share this video with your friends. If you have any personal message from me, check the description to join our community where you get all the resources used in every of our tutorials. Check the description as well. Thank you very much.